In this video, I'm going to be talking about openpgp. So I want to start with this video. People don't know what they are talking about, particularly on Discord and Reddit. OpenPGP has been so far. It was harder than source available software to understand. It was harder than the shell to understand. It was harder than the terminal to understand. The amount of misinformation and confusion and people who don't have any clue what the hell they are talking about is absolutely enormous. This OpenPGP and understanding OpenPGP and the IETF, it was extremely hard because there is mountains, literally mountains, and everybody that I spoke to, besides one guy, doesn't have any clue what they are talking about. So to understand OpenPGP, it was so difficult and it was so tough. I actually had to reach out and contact Phil Zimmerman, the man who wrote the program, because nobody knew why he posted it. Nobody knew what the IETF was, or nobody could explain it. So I want to take this time to thank Phil Zimmerman and thank him. Because this video wouldn't be possible without him. I wouldn't have been able to understand what the IETF was without him. Phil Zimmerman really helped out. So. Uh, Pretty good privacy open. So what is OpenPGP? So OpenPGP Wikipedia. So if we go to pretty good privacy, which I went over, we scroll down and we go to OpenPGP. So OpenPGP here doesn't actually in any way explain what OpenPGP is. Right, da 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 da, yada yada. The company blah 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 blah. Worldwide, many want in PGP 5. Zimmerman came open was critical for them. And no, proposed the IBS. Open PGP to describe a new standard as well. Any program. Blah 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 blah. Right. So I read this and I walked away having no idea what in the world this meant. Right? I read this and I had no idea what OpenPGP is or what OpenPGP meant. And the more people I asked, the more people it's just like is it an RFC? Is it a document? Is it a PDF? Is it this? Is it that? Is OpenPGP an RFC? Is it a standard? Is it a track? Just all sorts of things, right? Is it an implementation? Right? So all sorts of things, right? So this one right here, OpenPGP is a non-proprietary protocol for encrypting email. Yeah. So is it a protocol, right? Is it a protocol? And it's like what are you talking about, right? Protocol, right? And so finally, I asked, it's like OpenPGP is a non-proprietary format for authenticating yada yada, yada format for so is it a format, right? What does that mean? So I couldn't get any real answers until I actually spoke to Phil Zimmerman, and Phil Zimmerman was like, OpenPGP is a PDF. It is a document. It is a paper. If you were to put it into the real world, it'd just be like a college thesis. It's a paper. It is a document that exists to describe PGP well enough to engineers so that they can create their own implementation of PGP. Right? That's what it is. OpenPGP is inherently a PDF document that exists to describe what PGP is, what it does, to computer programmers and engineers in such a way that they can create their own implementation of PGP for themselves. That's what OpenPGP is. It's basically an extremely complex instruction manual on how to make a PGP equivalent program. And also in a way, it's a collection of protocols on how to use RSA for the purposes of email encryption. So basically, it's like an instruction manual, a collection of protocols for the purposes of being able to create a new PGP program. That's what it is, right? So where does OpenPGP actually exist? Well, here's the first one. This is where it exists. This is the first. This is the first. RFC of OpenPGP. However, it says right here that it's obsoleted by 4880. But actually, so RFC in 1991 came first, and this is the first OpenPGP RFC that was released. Then, right, so this one was released in 1991. This one was released in November 1998, right? So basically, what ended up happening is the first one was released, then it was improved upon, and it obsoleted the 2440 obsoleted in 1991. Then in 2007, this was released, which obsoleted 1991 and 2440. So that's how it worked, right? This one came first, then it was obsoleted by this one, right? 1991 was obsoleted by 2440. Then 2440 was obsoleted by 4880. So that's how it worked. So that's essentially what happened. Is that one obsoleted the other. So you can see in this one that it obsoletes both 1991 and 2440. If you're a tech manager, a tech engineer, or whatever, then you can come in here and find out specifically what they improved. I understand. Phil Zimmerman told me that they improved quite a lot and quite a lot of important things, but that's basically what it went. Bang, 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 right? So that is where, right, the current implementation of OpenPGP is this bad boy, not that one, this one right here, the 4880. This is the current version of OpenPGP, right? So if you're a computer programmer and you know how to make programs and you want to make your own version of OpenPGP and create your own version of PGP, then this is the one that you're going to be following, 4880. So, now, why did Phil Zimmerman make OpenPGP? Phil Zimmerman made OpenPGP for the same reason he released the open source code of PGP. He did that as well. Phil Zimmerman wanted to get both the source code and OpenPGP out to the internet public so people can create their own implementations of PGP. Phil wanted this because he signed over the rights of PGP to a company that was being created and invested in based off PGP. And Phil was worried that if the company were to go bankrupt, the rights of PGP would fall into a black hole and PGP would never benefit the internet at large. So Phil Zimmerman released the source code of PGP and created OpenPGP so people create their own implementations of PGP. Why did Phil Zimmerman release OpenPGP to the IETF? Phil Zimmerman published OpenPGP to the IETF because the IETF was then and is now the greatest way to disseminate highly technical internet ideas and documents such as OpenPGP. Phil understood that by releasing OpenPGP through the IETF, Phil could get OpenPGP in front of eyeballs that could both understand OpenPGP and be able to make their own implementations of PGP. That ultimately the IETF was the best way of releasing and spreading his idea with the entire world. If Phil released the source code of PGP, why bother creating OpenPGP? This is actually a good question. Phil Zimmerman released the source code of PGP, but he wanted to create and release OpenPGP as an instruction document for programmers and engineers in the future. Releasing the source code was good in the short term, but creating and releasing both the source code and OpenPGP was going to be better for the longevity and proliferation of PGP in the long run. So basically, there were certain things that OpenPGP could explain and could do that simply releasing the source code couldn't. So